Hi folks, I'm Jim Stringer. This is what I call TwangGuru Talk. And this one in particular is called TheConversation, because this is a conversation, I hope. It's just that I'm the only one with a microphone, so I'm the only one that gets to talk. So, but I hope you will give me some feedback, whether I post these on one of the social media, Facebook, or they'll all be on YouTube. I'll upload them all to YouTube. And then there'll also be links on my website, TwangGuru.com, and I'll have a link to that as well in the notes to every one of the videos. And you can also, I'll put my email address, TwangGuru@musicroom.org, and you can send me thoughts and suggestions there. Now, as to what I'm intending to do with these videos, it's not so much a how-to, because believe me, there is plenty of that on the internet. I know you can find almost anything that you want about fundamentals of guitar, how to play scales and modes and chord symbols and how to play particular songs. That's not what I'm going to look at. This is hopefully going to be more about the process, the mental, the mindfulness, and if you want, the spiritual side of playing music and guitar. Because it's all like we're just kind of a spout for this big picture of music that lies in the cosmos somehow, and that's where it comes out. So we want to shape that, how it comes out, how we are able to contribute to the body of music. Now I will cover some fundamentals. The next couple of TwangGuru Talks, one of them will be about chord naming, intervals, voice leading, voicing of chords, and intervals, interval playing, and things like that. So those are some of the how-tos that I want to cover. And all of the how-tos and every Twang Talk after this will be based on 3 realms of knowledge for guitar players and music in general. The first one of those is your technique, because if you don't have any good technique and you can't make your fingers do it, it doesn't matter what you think of. It's just going to come out as a jumble in your playing. The second one of these is your knowledge, your theory, if you will. It's knowledge helps you when you're practicing because it helps you look at things in a different light, or to apply things you already know to a different situation by understanding what you're playing. The third one of these is your concept, and this is probably the most important thing, although it works with the other pillars for guitar knowledge. And this is the things you think of to play, and there's some really great concepts of music. I'll cover this a lot more in other talks. I know that there's many, many different ways of looking and representing music, representing our thoughts by music. Probably, I like a film I saw recently. It was called In Search of Greatness, and the primary subjects of the film were sports heroes. In particular, I think Wayne Gretzky, Jim Rice, the great receiver in football, and Pele, unquestionably one of the greatest soccer players, or football players, I mean. And within this film, there's a quote from an educator, Sir Kenneth Robinson. And he said, "All innovative and creative people, they're not hung up on fixed definitions of what any form of life or reality may be." And I think that applies to any form of music, and specifically in terms of there are many, many ways of looking at reality or reality translated into music. And I really, believe it or not, I'll talk about that. I also hope to interview some other guitar players, people whose playing I respect and whose I'm interested in hearing what they have to say, how they practice and how they think of soloing and melodies and melody construction and chord construction, how they like to blend into a band, all those sorts of things. So if you have, I have several people in mind. If you have somebody that you think I ought to talk with, and no limitations, I'll try to get hold of anyone. And I'll try to get them on a Zoom meeting or something like that to present to you. So anyway, these are some of the things that will be in the future TwangGuru Talks. I think there are some prerequisites that we ought to have so that we have a common knowledge of things, and I don't have to backtrack on a bunch of stuff. So there are some things that you learn, and if you don't know these already, learn these from, there's several places on the internet where you can learn this. First of all, about modes. Western music in particular is very modal music, and we've got this 12-tone scale, and we've learned to associate melodies with certain modes of playing. And there's some great videos from Rick Beato, who's a music educator and guitar player, producer, and he's got some great stuff. And I've looked at a lot of Rick's videos. And Rick, I'm going to put your links to a couple of your videos on here, so maybe sometime you'll put a link to my videos. Nevertheless, one of his is called The Fastest Way to Learn Modes, and I think it's only 7 minutes or something, 10 minutes, and very easy, and presents a great concept of modes, what they are, how they're constructed, how you can think of them, how they relate to one another. He's got another one, it's a long one, it's called Modes and How to Use Them. And I haven't gotten through that whole thing. I looked at a bit of it, and I think it's probably very good instruction based upon some of the other things that I've seen that are in his videos. So I'll post those links as well below this video. And the next time I'm going to present a chord solo that I've been working on. And believe me, I don't have it 100% down right now, but I've been working on these voicings and the changes and things like that, and the presentation of it. And I'll use that to talk about how I name these chords, because I'll show you the sheet music I wrote out. I don't play it from the sheet music, but I wrote it so I could understand what I'm doing. That's the knowledge part. After that, I want to talk about the voice leading, how, like for example, when you play something like that, how each one of those, it's not just a block of chords that you move around, it's not like that. Each one of these it's like each one is a voice in a choir. And I want to talk about how you voice chords and what makes a chord interesting. Another thing is we'll talk about intervals, in particular intervals within chords. Let's take that very mellow sounding G major 7th I started out with there, and I'll show you this at, both in a diagram when we get down to it, but that's this. And what is it? It's got a pretty mellow sound, but listen to what one of the intervals in there is. You can't get really more dissonant than a major 7th. But yet it's mixed in with a perfect 4th, a major 3rd, and then all of the other intervals between the voices are relatively consonant. So that tempers the chord and keeps it from being just, although I really love dissonance, so I like chords like that. And, nevertheless, it's learning, that's part of your knowledge, how the knowledge can help you when you're practicing. And if you have a concept that you want to play something really outside the lines, well, you can't play outside the lines if you don't know where the lines are. So that's part of the reason for studying this theory and the knowledge. So anyway, I'll do that the next time, and I really appreciate you listening to this, and I will appreciate in advance your suggestions. And once again, I'm talking for the TwangGuru.